All right. There are a few people who are yet to join. Maybe Kiran, you can try to get some of the people that we have on this call. I'm going to disable the waiting room. All right. So the topic of this debate is South India fundamentally different from North India? And we have two camps here. One is the people who agree to that yes, it is fundamentally different, and then the other side, which is that you don't agree to that we're not fundamentally different. So what we have done is like we've created a debate online. Okay, I'm going to share the link with you guys here, and I would like you guys to join. So I'm going to paste the link in the chat, and also I will share my screen. So you guys can also like scan the QR code here to join the discussion. But also you can click on the link that I've shared in the chat. So I've shared a link in the chat. Let me know if you guys have any issues joining this debate.
Raghavendra, it says pros, cons. So if you agree, you have to press pros, and if you disagree, you have
Yes.
to press cons. Okay.
Yes. So one of the things that we did last time was to establish the format of the debate. What we were talking about was basically that we need to have like a structure to this debate, right? So first we need to like divide the people into different teams. And we don't have a lot of enough people for something like that right now. I want each of you guys to like, so because we have such a few number of people here, we can try to maybe like have like like a self self assignment on both sides. So how many of you want to go with like how many of you want to say that you agree to that statement? Can you like raise your hand on the Zoom? Okay, how many of you say you disagree? Maybe you can put it in the chat. Agree, disagree. And it would also be nice if you guys can come on videos so that we can do this easily. Like the raising hands and all this. Like it's done easier if you can come. Yeah. Hi, Kushal.
Raghav, sorry, I was a little bit late. What was the question?
Yeah. So the question is like just the debate. We have okay. So we have an online debate. We're hosting it on a platform, and I've shared the link to the debate
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
chat. And you can also scan it on your phone in the QR and join this. The question is basically, is South India fundamentally different from North India? Agree or disagree? And you can join in and you can add your pros and cons. Like pros is like if you agree to the statement, you will add a pro. If you disagree, you will add a con. But I was just asking everybody here if you guys want to subscribe yourself to one side. Like how many of you say you agree, and then how many of you say you disagree. So that's what I was asking. And you can post it in the
Okay.
chat as to whether you disagree or agree.
Okay.
And if any of you feel like you want to like improve your debating skills or something like that, um, it might be better to sort of like it might be better to um, subscribe to agree, because in this case the majority of the people are saying disagree. So if you want to improve your debating skills, you can say like I agree to this, and then you can try to represent that side, right? So I've seen some responses here. Kushal, Venkatesh, and Prasang, they all say they disagree. Anybody on the agree side? Manikandan is saying agree. What about Antriksh? Antriksh, Pushkar? Okay. So I think we can split it into two teams. Do you guys want to participate? Like I think we all should participate in this one because like we don't have enough people to spectate and it won't make sense. So we can all be participants. So what you can do now is you can basically go ahead and click on the link. I hope all of you are able to like access the link and add content there, right? So we can do that, and then you can just keep adding your points. But first, like like we will keep spend maybe like the next 5 minutes until 10, 11, 12 or something like that, adding the points, and then after that we will have like maybe 5 minutes for the disagree because you guys are dominant, and then after that we'll have 5 minutes of presentation for the agree team. So Manikandan is on the agree team. Like anybody else wants to join the agree team, if you want to jump ship, so that things are more balanced and this is more of a exercise, right?
Okay, I'll join the agree team.
Great, excellent. And we'll have like Venkatesh and Manikandan will be in the agree team, and then the rest of you guys can be in the disagree team. So for now, we can just go ahead and start posting the points on this board. And at 11:15, okay. So we will like pause, and then like we will start like we will have the disagree team present first, and then have the agree team present for another 5 minutes, and we can proceed from there. Is it clear? Any
Yeah.
Sorry,
questions?
what's the board link? Is it in the Meetup link actually? Meetup application link?
No, it's in the chat right now. Can you see the
Uh,
chat? If you scroll up, it's the first message I sent.
No,
So
I
we
just joined like on 11:05,
Okay.
so I don't have that message. Can someone copy paste
Yeah,
it again?
yeah, I'm sending it. Hold on.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So we can just put our points in the chat window. Is that what you said?
No, the point should be done in the on the link where you got the debate.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi Teja.
Yeah, hello,
Uh,
sir.
Can you click on the link in the chat and then join the conversation? We have an online discussion. We have a page on Kiolo where we are recording the different sides of the argument. So if you agree to the statement that South India is fundamentally different from North India, you can say it or add your points in the pro section. And then if not, then you can add it in the con section.
Mhm. Which link, sir? I mean, in the Discord?
In the chat, there is a chat link. In the chat, there is a link in this post.
Okay.
Zoom chat.
In the Zoom chat. Okay. Yes.
Okay, it's 11:15. Do you guys feel ready to present your side? Can somebody pick a representative for the disagree team and then a representative for the agree team? Who wants to represent each side? Okay, on the disagree side, we have Prasang, Kushal, and Antriksh. And the agree side, we have Manikandan and Venkatesh, right? So can we have like one representative on each side?
Manikandan, can I represent our side? Is that okay with you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thanks.
And Teja, you can also subscribe to either side. Which team do you want to participate in? Agree or disagree?
In the disagree side, sir.
Okay, we were like saying like because the agree side is like kind of weaker. You can also like subscribe to this side if you just want to do it as an exercise for
Sure,
yourself.
I'll subscribe to agree side then.
Okay, yeah.
Like-
So
I suppose-
Venkatesh and Manikandan and Teja can be on the agree side, and the rest of the guys can be on the disagree side. And Venkatesh will represent the agree team. What about the disagree team?
Let me mute. Sorry.
Okay, sir. Like I will.
Okay, Kushal, you can do. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. All right, great. So um, let's have we have some opening statements already, right? We have these like opening points already. How do you guys want to do this? Like, do you want to gather together as a team and then discuss, and then um, like you come in and do this, or like do you want to do it straight off? I can put you guys in breakout rooms for maybe like 5 minutes. You can construct your arguments, and then you can come back and present it. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think we can. Yeah, we could do that maybe, but we could just start. I think a lot of the points are already there on the board.
Okay, great, fine then. Yeah, let's start then. Who wants to go first? Kushal or Venkatesh?
Yeah, I'm starting.
All right, great.
In my opinion, South India and North India are not fundamentally different. Hello. I'm
Yeah, yeah,
audible,
yeah.
right?
Yes, you're audible. Yes.
According to my opinion, like South Indian and North India are not fundamentally different because after all, we are all India. It's one India, and the fundamental rights are. Venkatesh, you are not able to hear.
Voice is low, Kushal.
Well, yeah, is it clear now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
now it's clear.
Yeah, so according to my opinion, South India and North India are not fundamentally different because I feel, first of all, we are all Indians, and as an Indian, we have our constitution, and which provides the same fundamental rights wherever you stay, whether in North India or South.
Do you want to summarize some of the other topics, other points, or just it doesn't have to be one point. You can have multiple points.
Yeah, so like as I said, we have a constitution which provides the fundamental rights. So whether I stay in North India and South India, I can perform. I have the right to speak. I have a right to vote. I have the right to freely move anywhere and stay. And also like I can speak my language anywhere. Like it is not restricted that I have to speak in that particular regional language.
Okay. All right. So can we consider that the end of your opening statement?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Venkatesh.
Okay, so first of all, when we talk about fundamental differences, we have to first define what constitutes a fundamental difference between people. I would say people who are culturally different are fundamentally different. I mean, what is intrinsic to any people is the culture, right? So if the culture is different, then you could say that they are different. Now, what constitutes culture? I would say there are two major elements of culture. One is religion, and the other is language. Those are the two things that really constitute culture.
Yeah.
So, in the case of the South and the North, the religions are mostly the same, right? There are Hindus, Christians, Muslims, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, approximately distributed in the same way. So religion is not fundamentally a difference between the South and the North, although there are local differences, right? The different gods are worshipped in different places. Possibly Shiva is worshipped more in the South, at least in Tamil Nadu, and Krishna is worshipped a lot in Gujarat. In the heartland of the North, Rama is worshipped. Although these are very loose characterizations, I mean, you will find a lot of overlap, across. When it comes to language, that is where the difference really, is obvious. So South Indian languages are very different from North Indian languages, and that has led to a very different trajectory for the South. First of all, there is no common language among the South Indian states. So South India is just a convenient abbreviation, right? You could argue that there are South Indian states, but no South India per se. But even assuming that we can't meaningfully talk about South India, there is no common language among the South Indian states, and that has led to several things. One is an emphasis on English from very early days in South Indian history. The South embraced English more eagerly than that. Some of the economic success of the South perhaps can be attributed to that early embrace of English. That is one major difference. So the language is a major difference. Also, South Indian languages, linguistic experts have said that South Indian languages belong to a different language family than North Indian languages. Anecdotally, we can see that that is true. Most of my North Indian friends say that they have no problem learning or understanding any language up to Maharashtra. And when they come south of that, that is when the language changes fundamentally and they are no longer able to comprehend it or pick it up easily. Although with effort, they can. And the fact, so you put two things together. One is the difference in the language, and the other is the difference in the demography, right? The difference in numbers. The South is much less populous than the North. Because India is a parliamentary democracy based on representative government, the South has always had less political power than the North. And that has led to differences in attitudes. And you could argue that the South looks less to the government to solve problems and more to themselves. Whereas in the north, with strong political representation, there might be a greater reliance on the government. Apart from that, there are more, smaller things, smaller differences. But those differences don't necessarily divide the. I'm referring to differences in cuisine. South Indian cuisine is quite different from North Indian cuisine. But those differences don't actually serve to unite the country more than divide the country, because people like to sample each other's cuisines. People like to taste each other's dishes and so on. So those differences actually serve to unite the country. But I think that there is enough difference between the two to claim that at least there is a fundamental difference between the two regions. So that is the end of my opening argument. I would say on a lighter note that the fact that people had to be persuaded to take this side shows that we are united as one country. So that's a very positive sign, and I was glad to see that. Okay, back to you, Raghavendra.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Venkatesh and Kushal, for your opening statements. I think from just just summarizing the opening statements, it feels like there was a lot more depth and detail added to the agree side. That there were a lot of points presented, and Kushal had I think like I think 1 or 2 points. So maybe what we can do now is like we can go into breakout rooms, and you guys can see my screen, right? So there are many points on both sides. Now your job is to attack the other side's arguments. Okay, so you'll go here, and when you click on this, you can post pros and cons to each of these as well. You can also have voting, right? Yeah. So when you post an argument to either side, I think you'll have some voting statistics here. Okay, I need to enable the voting. Hold on. Okay, so you can vote with this now. So you can say that this thing is like either false or true. So if you agree to the statement, you will say true, and then if you disagree, you will say 0. It false. It's a little bit confusing, but I hope you guys got it. You're able to see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Do we have enough neutrals, meaning spectators, so that voting makes sense? I mean, otherwise it's going to be predictable voting, right? I'm going to vote, for my side. The others will vote for their side.
Yeah, that's a good question. But let's just do it. We'll have multiple measures. We'll have voting as well as a number of arguments on each side. Now the thing is that if you want to attack each of these single arguments, you can click on them. You can add additional points as well. And after we go through that round of like attacking each other's side, then we will gather together, and then we will summarize why we are attacking their arguments and why they are wrong about some of those things. Is that clear? So I can put you guys in breakout rooms so that hold on. I think somebody is trying to get the Zoom link. It's on the meetup itself. The password is in the link itself, the Pushkar.
Sir, the password is in the link itself. The thing which you shared in the group doesn't have a password, sir. Like she asked me to send it.
This one. You're talking about the Kialo link or the
No, the Zoom link itself. For the Zoom meet itself, they're asking the password.
But the password is part of the link. Okay.
Can I add some points in the
Yes.
disagree?
Yes, you're free to add anywhere. Okay. So Pushkar, just copy this link, man. Just go to the meetup group and then copy this link.
I have sent her the link, sir. So again, she messaged me. She wants a passcode. Like Zoom has this passcode while joining in her, it seems. So she's requesting me the passcode.
If she opens that, it will automatically do that. But I don't know the passcode. Hold on. But sorry guys, like this is probably not the priority right now. But I just want to let people in just so that. So I'm pasting the Zoom invitation itself. Okay, the passcode it's in the link invitation itself in the chat. Please share that with us.
Done, sir.
So I'm adding. Let's get into breakout room, and I'm going to manually assign people there. So room 1.
Here we have the passcode for Zoom meeting, sir, if I may share.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. Here it's the passcode is right here in the meeting. If I can share.
I already shared it in the chat, man. Let's forget about that. Pushkar is taking care of it.
Okay.
So for the agree side, we have Manikandan and Teja and Venkatesh. And for the disagree side, we have Prasanna. Okay.
Unity in diversity, right? Because that's what is most celebrated about the India. Whenever you see from the outer perspective, and then people see like there's so many culture in India, but still we are unified as one. Like there are
Yes,
different codes.
that is what I think. Like, see, the fundamental means the basic foundation. So, as a basic foundation, whether you are from South India or whether you are from North India, it's the same. Like the basic foundation, like how you are staying. Like you have the right to speak, you have the right to practice any culture, any religion, in any part of the country. So I don't think that they are fundamentally different. See, the cultural difference can occur because of the geographical location and everything, but the fundamental is not coming under cultural or I'm not talking about culture or geographical location or the political difference. And we are talking about a fundamental difference. Fundamental is the most basic needs and basic foundation. Basic
Okay.
foundation and basic essentials are same.
Kushal, that's a good point. Now let's focus on the board itself. Okay, like if you look at the actual board, there are many points made on each side. Now your job is to basically strengthen the arguments on your side, and then weaken the arguments on the other people's side. Okay. So you just mentioned that they don't have fundamental differences, but one of the things that Venkatesh was talking about was that there is two things make up for a culture, right? One is the language and religions, and he's saying that the language is very different, so people think
Yes, sir. The
differently.
culturally, I'm not telling that they are culturally same, but we are talking about fundamental difference. Fundamental difference is not there. We are actually we have the same right everywhere in the country. We are allowed to speak all the languages everywhere. Like whether we go to Tamil Nadu or we can go to like see maybe if I speak in Hindi in Tamil Nadu, people will not answer. But that if I speak Hindi, that doesn't mean that I will be put in prison or something like it's a crime.
Yeah, so in that case, what you can do is like you can go to each of these claims where it says like there is no common language and all these things. So you can say that language does not create a fundamental difference. So you can add additional cons and pros over here.
And there's one more thing. Within the state, there are different dialects and different languages based on the region. So, if we are trying to kind of divide this north and south based on the language, there will be a lot of dividing within the state itself. Right.
That's a
So
good point. So
that
you
will
can add that as a counter argument for some of these points where they're talking about language.
yeah. So
So this exercise is like, for the next maybe like 5 or 6 minutes, we will like, just go through these and like mark, like add your other points as well. And we'll come
Sir,
back and then,
how to disagree to the, like, in the con side, whatever they have written. So how to, like, we have to put it in a con side, like the point
see,
or
on the pro side, it's people who agree
yes.
to this statement. Okay, everything that they're saying, they'll add it here. Now, if you want to disagree with this one, you click on it,
Awesome.
and then you go and add in the con side.
Okay. Okay. Sir.
Raghavendra, can you hear me?
Yes.
Manikandan is not joined yet.
Uh,
Oh, yes, he's coming now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome, Manikandan. So Teja was going to say something. I just said we'll wait for you. So Teja, can you explain your point?
That's what I just wrote right now. Whenever we see other foreign, not people, we can just clearly say that they are completely different from us, from the way they speak and they dress. We can just say, yeah, they are completely from North. So that says that there are clear differences which we can differentiate between us.
Yes.
So
but the question is, does that constitute a fundamental difference? Because that was what they were talking about. There are cultural differences for sure, but there are no fundamental differences. That's what they were saying.
now, the word fundamental means that we have to perceive its meaning on our own. You can't say that fundamental means it's just according to the body. Even body language can be fundamentally a different one.
Yeah, but is body language a fundamental characteristic of a people?
Yeah,
Right.
I think
That
so.
is the question. You think so?
Yeah.
But
So-
the other side may not think so, right? So maybe you can make a stronger case. Okay. Yeah.
So we are, I think the object of what we are doing is to try to attack the other side's arguments, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, some of the things they have said are our national identity is based on nation which has a diverse culture and land still unified. I think I would, contest that, saying that the unity of India is a recent phenomenon, and that India, the political unity of India was actually achieved by the British, and then we Indians are carrying it on, but it is based on how old India is. India's unity is a relatively recent thing. I mean, we have existed as a civilization for one form or another, in one form or another for the last 3,000, 4,000 years, something like that. And our political unity is only about 200, 250 years old. And our existence as an independent nation is only 75 years old. So, so our differences have existed for a much longer time than our similarities or our unity, right? Our differences have existed for much longer than our unity. And so in the future, it is possible that we may be a completely unified nation, a homogeneous nation, which may not be desirable, but in the future it's possible. But to claim that we are, the same across North and South is premature.
Okay. In that case, like you can add a con here. You can click on this, and then like you can add a con. You're saying that whatever you just summarized. So that way you're just enhancing the argument for your side.
The con will come to, where will the con go? It'll
So
go on
you will click on this, whichever argument you want to. You're seeing my screen, right?
yes.
So you click on whichever argument you want to argue against, and then you'll come to the con section and then add your point.
I see. Okay.
Actually, most of the arguments which they have kept, it's like a textbook thing. it is like an ideal version, but the reality is not like that.
Yeah, so you would find a way to like specify that in the con section over there. So you go there and then add a
Mhm.
con saying that thing what you just summarized.
Sure.
I'm typing it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've entered the con.
Yeah.
But is it showing? Yeah, it is showing. You have to click on it. So Raghavendra, we are overdosing a bit on the technology side of it, right? Typing stuff. Maybe we should just make it a real debate and let people talk.
I think that's what we're gonna do. This is just a small exercise. We're gonna reconvene now, and then we will like have a like verbal exchange. This is just to like give you the space to brainstorm yourself.
Sure,
Okay, so,
sure.
yeah. All right. So let's close the breakout room. All right, guys. I hope you had some time to like gather your thoughts on each side. Now we're going to have another couple of rounds where each side will present its counter arguments to what the other side was saying. So you've had your like what you're using Kialo is for this Kialo, the online platform that we're using for this debate is just to gather your thoughts and add notes and things. But you can verbally present yourself. You can share your perspective as well. And it's not that only the representative that we chose the last time should speak. Others can also speak. So we will have a more free flowing discussion right now. Okay. So one of the teams can go, and then the other team can rebut it, and then we can have a back and forth like that. And if the conversation gets too heated or like unproductive, or people are talking over each other, I will intervene and I'll moderate it.
Okay, so I last time can I go? I'm from
Yeah,
the disagree team,
sure, sure.
and I heard Venkate's point, and he had mentioned that like the religion is similar, and I agree with that. Like we follow the same God, and we read the same scripture, same Upanishad, and same Ramayana and Mahabharata. Coming to the language diversity, yeah, I agree that there is a difference between the language of North and South. But if you look at the each state, there is a language difference between the state also. There's a different dialects, right? But which is something kind of it differs based on the people how they talk. So we should not consider highlight that points like there's a language difference, and if it is really highlight, we should take in a light point, yeah, because it's a natural, it's happened. And the third point is difference in the number. Yeah, definitely the population of north is more as compared to the south, and that's why there are more parliamentary seats in the north, and that might be the reason why most of the prime minister are from north, and it's happened. But if you look at how they run the government, how they look after each state, you'll not find any kind of discrimination against the state. You'll find that the southern states are more flourished in terms of business, in terms of industries, in terms of education. If there was any kind of discrimination, they would not be kind of flourished. There is no blockade from the central government to not develop the southern state, right? And at the same time, we have the state government, which is mostly looking into the development of the states, and the central is more into the looking of the well-being of the country as a whole. And number of MPs, like I feel like each MPs in the parliament has the equal rights, and a single MP can break the government and make the government. And I don't see like this political disbalance play any important role in the north and south divide.
Thanks,
That's
Prasan.
all.
Yeah, the other side, wanna comment on it?
Just one small correction. It is not Venkatesh's views. I think that's what you said, right? I'm representing the views of my team. Some of them are from me, and some of them are from the others, Teja and Manikandan. Just wanted to clarify that.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, should we
Yeah,
speak
sure.
from
Yeah,
Ajay's side?
Manikandan, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, first of all, the language point which he said was there is a difference in language, and there is a huge politics and political thing happening by enforcing other languages to South Indian people. You see, enforcing an language is it has a very huge impact. For example, the entire history and entire roots became very weak if we change and enforce other languages. For example, even South, if they keep Hindi as a secondary language and they make Tamil as an optional or Kannada as an optional, then our entire literature, history, and our entire thing gets changed, and it would be like an history rewritten, and our people, I mean, the South people, it would become a huge weakness for upcoming generation where we forget our roots. And even in civilization, we could see that research has been done, and Kiladi was the most ancient civilization. But still in textbooks, what we see and study is like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro civilization, those kind of stuff. Something. You see, this is like a major issue. Yeah, I agree. It would be better if there is some single language through the nation. It would be more easy for us. But as long as we are managing with English and other languages, it should be kept as an optional thing, not like mandatory. So we see a huge pressure in language thing, and it is not just a simple thing. And regarding the political things, the most of the parties in South are like state-based parties, and we are not getting much support from central-based parties. Whatever the welfare and new schemes, yeah, South is developed well only, but not because of new schemes and being it is like an many decades ago growth during the British times. The ports, harbor, trading, those kind of things happened, not because of recent for the past 15 years. We couldn't see much support from the central side. Whatever new welfare schemes, we could see that it is a little bit biased. We all know that there is a huge discussion going on that we can't simply ignore political bias. That's from my side.
All right. Thanks, Manikandan. And now if we can have like a free exchange, anybody can speak. If you have something to say, you can say.
Like I want to go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was telling like all the like I was going through all the points from the post side all were like regarding the languages difference, the culture difference. Someone has also said that we are racially different. Someone has also written that South India and North India are racially different. But I want to start with that basically we are talking about a fundamental. Fundamental means like the basic or the foundation stone. How are we different from our foundation? Like whether we stay in North India or whether we stay in South India, the love for our country is first. Like, we all love our country. We are if someone speaks against our country, and we don't think that whether we are from North India, we can be defend our country. So, or we have like fundamental rights or fundamentally different fundamentals cannot be different in terms of language. You respect your country, that whether you speak Hindi, whether you speak Kannada, whether you speak Tamil, but it doesn't matter. You respect your country, or you can stay there because we have our fundamental rights, and it is same all over the world in our countries. That is why people from north comes to south, and people from south goes to north. And we are staying and we are accepting each other. And that is how we are united. If we speak about like someone has written in the prose, like in the south, there are 4 languages, and all are different. So we have accepted English as a common language. But we see with the north also differs in languages. Bengal, you speak Bengali, then what Bihar, you speak Mathli, when you go to UP, you speak Bhojpuri. That's how the language is not also different east to west. But we also but that is why we say that we don't have our language, national language. But in terms of language, we cannot say that we are fundamentally different. As a basic, as a foundation stone, we all are same.
I can't hear you again. The voice is low.
Did you get the same? Hello.
We could hear you, Kushal.
We could hear.
The Venkatesh, are you using earphones? Or
Venkatesh, if you are you able to hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, I can repeat my point, what I said.
No, I heard most of what you said. Only the very last sentence I missed it.
Yeah, like the lastly, what I said is like the language doesn't differ us from our fundamentals. Like basically, whatever language or culture. Maybe I'm a Hindu, maybe someone is a Muslim, but religion also like it doesn't our geographical location. It doesn't differ us from our basic foundation role, like the country should be first, like we should love our country first, or we should respect other culture also. That doesn't change. Like we respect each other, and that is what fundamental means. And I don't think there is a difference anywhere in the country, whether it's North India or South.
So I understand these points. Many of them are good points. I would just add some counterpoints here. It is true that we have the same constitution, right? The one constitution across India that guarantees the same fundamental rights to all Indians. That is true, and that is a political fact. It says nothing about the people. Our constitution is a very recent origin, 75 years, no more. And before that, we had no rights. Certainly under the British, our rights were severely restricted. And before that, as far as I know, the notion of individual rights did not exist in India. And a country that developed the caste system is unlikely to have had the notion of individual rights. I think India was built on the concept of group rights, community rights, and not individual rights. So individual rights that are common across the entire country, that apply equally to all individuals within India, is a very recent origin. And so, while I'm not saying that the country is fundamentally different because of that, what I'm saying is that it is premature to claim that we are all one simply because of a very recent constitution. And recent is a relative term, right? By Indian standards, 75 years is recent. If you look at a newer country, 75 years could be a long time. But 75 years is an insignificant part of India's history. And so we have to wait and see whether the constitution is truly able to unite us as a people, or whether ancient differences will still persist. That is certainly one thing that I would say. Otherwise, the South and North are quite significantly different in many ways. Even politically, as we have said earlier, the political representation of the North is much stronger than the political representation of the South. And that has led to many other, many other derivative differences. And therefore, I would say we are still quite different. In fact, a famous personality recently said that, Navjot Singh Sidhu, the cricketer who was actually a co-host of the Kapil Sharma show, he said that when he comes to Chennai or any South Indian city, he feels that things are quite different. And he was very careful to say, I'm not saying they're worse. I'm just saying that he feels he's in a very different place when he comes to the South. So it's just the common observation of everybody, right? A South Indian who travels to the North feels that he's in a very different place, and a North Indian who travels to the South feels the same.
Okay. Okay, I can talk about this. So basically, the one important thing I got from the conversation is the casteism, and I believe that there are rights still exist based on the casteism, and people from different castes get the different kind of treatment in still some part of the India. But it is not something which we can relate with the North and South, because this casteism thing is throughout the whole India, and not just casteism. It also the economic situation of a person also kind of affect the way person is getting treated in the society or getting treated by the government. That is one thing. And the second thing is, yeah, definitely when we talking about the logistics, definitely when we are put when we put ourselves out of our comfort zone, like when we have to first, no, talk about myself. Whenever I have to go to my relative place, I used to feel like very discomfort. But later, when I went there for 2 3 times, it become natural for me. And then same goes for when I came to Bangalore for the work. First time it was so awkward. I was like so scared, and right, and everything was different. I was not able to handle that. But now it's I have been here for 1.5 year now. Everything is fine. So it's more about an individual person, how much the person is able to explore the places. When you explore the India for some places a couple of times, that place becomes your home. Then you start thinking about going abroad, and then also the abroad thing will look kind of thing which is very scary for you, and think managing going abroad. But when you go abroad 4 5 times, that becomes normal. So it's something which is related with the individual experience. The more you explore, the things get normal for you. Coming to the similarity
Perfect.
part, yeah.
Just to comment on that as from the moderation perspective, I want to bring some clarity on the question first of all. The question is there a fundamental difference? It's not about like whether you can adjust or whether you like it or not, don't like it. It's more about is there a fundamental difference, right? So if you're saying that, for example, when Navjot Singh actually made that comment regarding coming to South India and it feels really different, the food is all different. What he was actually saying was that he was making a comparison between him going to Pakistan and coming to South India. And he said that going from North India to Pakistan feels a lot more similar than going from Punjab to South India, Chennai or something.
Yeah.
So that is the comparison that he was drawing, which indicates that there is a fundamental difference, right? Only then you feel that way. Whether you like it or not is a completely separate issue. But is it different or not?
I would like to address one other point that Kushal brought up.
Sir, before that, I just want to say on this, Navjot Singh's comment actually. Actually, it is proving not that there is a fundamental difference, but I think it is proving that there is a cultural difference. Because, like, when you turn a person from South India travels to North India, he'll find, and also vice versa. If a person from North travels to South, he finds some cultural difference, but that doesn't mean like there is a fundamental difference, because if there is a fundamental difference, then there might be a chance that he won't be able to speak that freely about that, or like he won't be able to travel to that place if the South people doesn't allow it. Won't be able to stay for 2 days.
Um,
Got
Kushal, I would like to address a point that you brought up earlier, right? That when North Indians come to the South or when South Indians come to the North, they are accepted by the local population and they don't face any problems. And you're taking that as evidence that there is no fundamental difference between the South and the North. I would like to point out that Indians in general do not have a habit of protesting and taking to the streets uh, in general. Uh, you know, uh, s- uh, unless there is leadership or unless there is somebody to instigate them to do that. The caste system has existed in India for thousands of years, and until Ambedkar came along, there were no protests against the caste system, as far as I know. There was a lot of reason to protest against it. Many other people in the world, maybe Europeans, maybe Chinese, they may have protested against it, but Indians did not. Indians do not have a habit of protesting against real grievances. Uh, and it is not in the culture in general, right? So the fact that people are accepted away from their home states, I would argue, is no evidence of anything. And regarding the last point that you made about a cultural difference not being a fundamental difference, and I would strongly contest that. I would argue that that is the basic difference between people. Otherwise, we're all human beings. We all have a face, a nose, a mouth, hands, and legs. The main difference between human beings is the culture. If the culture is different, then those people are fundamentally different. That's what I would assert anyway.
Okay, I would like to just make a small comment. We've reached 12 p.m. So this is supposed to be a 1 hour session, but we've reached the point. But just for today, I would like to extend the by a few minutes so that we can reach a conclusion, right? So we've had a back and forth so far. As a moderator, I want to make some observations, and I want to give maybe like a few minutes to each side to summarize their argument, and we can maybe like have a discussion about like which side is winning, right? So as a moderator, I want to say that I feel reluctant to take a stance of a moderator because I have strong feelings about the subject myself. I cannot be unbiased here. So when I think about this issue, I do see the differences, but I do believe that we still are the same people. Like we are so different from the rest of the world that we are all similar, even though we have differences. Um, from a global context, I would say that we're all the same. We're not much different. But when you look at insularly, like looking within, it is kind of evident that there is a difference, right? When you go to North India, it feels a little differently as compared to what when you travel to South India. There are differences, but does it contribute to fundamental difference? That has been the biggest point of contention over here, right? Again, this is actually a good observation for us to make for future debates, because like then we need to pick topics with a great level of specificity. When you define a topic, you have to define what fundamental difference constitutes. Only then there is a room for us to be on the same page about like whether we agree or not. So for somebody else, a fundamental difference could be something else. For example, Venkatesh just said that like if there is cultural difference, there is a fundamental difference. So the scope of the definition defines whether you agree or not. So we will have like more specific topics in the future moving forward. But just to summarize, like maybe like you guys can each take 1 minute to just summarize your question. Do you still stand by your side? And like closing arguments.
Teja or Manikandan, can one of you summarize our side? I think I have been talking too much already.
Teja, you wanna go or?
Yeah,
Okay,
sure,
okay.
I can go. Can I?
Fine, Teja.
Yes.
So to summarize the points, that we have very common differences such as language and cultural differences we have here, which cannot be ignored easily. And as well as the political difference is quite large, that even that can't be ignored and just say that we are all equal. So just because we have fundamental rights equally. So maybe.
And Manikandan, Venkatesh, you guys want to add something to that?
There are
Manikandan, go ahead.
there are a lot of factors and things which differs and which needs special handling. It can be overgeneralized and in a go. Each and every state and everything needs a special attention, and there should be no mass rules or any enforcing of things happening.
So, one point I would like to add is that North versus South itself is a simplistic way of looking at the differences in India. The differences in India are much greater than just the North versus the South. We are quite possibly the most diverse country in the world. Diverse in terms of on every dimension that you can name. Language, culture, religion, cuisine. Perhaps even racially distinct. Multiple races coexisting. I don't know of any country that is more diverse than India. And this has been acknowledged by foreign observers also. In fact, they sometimes wonder how we managed to even cohere as a nation, given that we are so diverse. So I don't think the point can be meaningfully contested. North versus South is a broad brush division, but if you look a little deeper, you will discover there are many more differences among India. What no one can say about India, right? This argument cannot be made meaningfully. Is that we are a homogeneous nation, or that we are, people of one culture? We are not. It's obvious to anybody who has, to all of us. Certainly, it's obvious because we are Indians, and even non-Indians who visit India, travel in India for, they are struck by how much diversity there is. So we are multiple cultures. We are different peoples living together under the same umbrella.
Yeah,
Kushal, if you're speaking, we're not able to hear you.
yeah. Like I was waiting actually. Like, is it done? Is it done? I was actually waiting.
Yeah. Please.
Okay. And so, like, I want to I agree with the fact, like, okay, we are different. India is a very, as you said, like, India is a very diverse country. We have in every, I don't think also state by state, but also in terms of kilometers, like in a region by region, also the languages and the culture changes inside the state also. But when we talk about the fundamental difference, we talk about the basic difference, the foundation stone. And I don't think that there is a difference in North India and South India in terms of their founding stone, which is like the first is the love for their country, which everyone loves their country. Plus, the the thing like what fundamentally differences, like fundamental is like when someone from outside comes to your place as a, like we say, Atithi Devo Bhava, and in anywhere you go as Atithi, people welcomes you, and that's the culture of India. That's the thing. That's the fundamental of India, that we accept every culture, every religion, anywhere in India. So I don't think that there is a fundamental difference. There is a difference, but there is no fundamental difference in North Indian South. Prasad and Pushkar, if you are.
And Kushal, one a question that I have for you is like, what kind of a difference would you think of as fundamental difference? Like, would you call like legal differences as fundamental, or like what would you if you notice something as different, what would it be that would justify the statement that it's fundamentally different?
And I think if someday, like suppose a state were in any state, I'm not talking about a North India, sorry, in any state, we say like suppose there's suddenly there's a rule that you cannot speak against the local government, the ruling government cannot speak near the people. The government suddenly shuts your right to speak and takes out. Actually, like there are some norms, but fundamental difference, I would say, like if someday I'm staying in South, for example, and suddenly they're like you only like will not like outside from that state you are not welcome. For example, there was a time in I don't know, I'm not sure about it, but there was a time in Maharashtra when like the only Maharashtrians should be there, like outside people from outside Maharashtra were not done. That where the fundamental difference comes. Like this this should not happen anymore.
Okay. So you're saying that if laws are applied equally, let's say that tomorrow we applied the same laws to both Pakistan and India. Let's say that there is a larger union of these two
But
countries.
if we say about Pakistan, so you see, like fundamentally we are different because we as Indians accepted different religions and we have like we welcome all the culture. But if you see Pakistan when they got separated from India, there were also people who were like from different religions. It's not that they are also democratic. They give equal rights. But when you see now, you see like there the minorities almost distinct. Like they are everyone is get converting into the same religion and the diversity is getting reduced because they are
Okay.
forcing people to accept.
Raghavendra, I don't think we can use the Pakistan thing because the premise,
Yes.
at least the way I
Yes.
understood it, right? The premise of this whole debate is that we are unified under one government and it is one country under one government. But within this country, are there groups of people who are fundamentally different from each other? Pakistan and India, different countries, different governments. So I don't think, of course, you
Yep.
can talk about whether North Indians are culturally more similar to Pakistanis than South Indians. The point that Sidhu was bringing up, that's a different point. But the premise of this debate, as I understood it, was that we're talking about one country.
Yeah, but I was just trying
Correct, sir.
to draw the comparison between, the whole argument, like the fundamental difference from legal perspective from versus cultural perspective, right? Because like culturally, if you look at it, India and Pakistan, we have a long history. I mean, essentially before 75 years, we were the same people, right? We were divided on a legal basis or a constitutional basis and things like that.
Yeah.
So does that constitute fundamental? That is the point I was trying to bring up because like with Kushal's focus was on the legal side of things, right? So legally we are all the same. So that then cultural thing does not matter anymore. So in the case of Pakistan, the culture is
Yes.
like we are rooted in similar cultures, but we have legally distinction. So that is why I was asking that.
No, sir. Just my point was not too legal. Like mine was like for me fundamental. Like is like it's not only just legal. It's also with that what I said, like an example, right? Like whether we stay in North India or whether we stay in South India. We first of all we respect our mother India. Like we are all. If suppose something happens in India and we don't take it as whether it's North India or South India. We together as a one defend our nation. So that is what I was planning. Not only legal wise, but also the basics. Like you should respect your country first. You should respect other culture. But that these are some basics which is present in any individual from whether he's in North or whether he's
Okay. All right. I think we are closing the closing of the debate. I think this was a great discourse. We exchanged our viewpoints respectfully, and we had a good discourse. Just to like have a certain kind of conclusion here. The first observation that I'll make is that, like I said, we need to have clarity as to what the definitions of these terms that we're using in the topic of the debate is, so that we're all agreeing on as to what is the fundamental difference. And then the second thing is that, from my personal perspective, I think yes, there are differences that you can broadly categorize. There are people in Kerala and people in Tamil Nadu are more similar than people in Kerala and people in Punjab. Okay, so there are like certain broad differences as well, but does that constitute a fundamental difference? That is a broad question. It's on anybody's side, right? And also, um, it becomes problematic when you have like legal differences that may constitute a fundamental difference, but like we said, discussed, we don't really have that level of fundamental difference. Um, but even though we have differences, it does not need to lead to any kind of fundamental difference in value systems or visions or outlooks or things like that. So that is like there is an equal amount of diversity across both the north and south. So I don't think it would lead to fundamental difference. So my verdict as a moderator is that there is no fundamental difference, even though there are cultural differences and other kind of differences.
It's good that we have concluded. Can we assume we are now past the debate phase? And
Yes.
Can I just add one point, Raghavendra?
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
I've thought about these questions for some time, and one conclusion that I came to in my mind, and others, feel free to critique it, is what is the most natural unit that of human beings that can exist without the need for force to keep them together? To me, that is one way to define a country. Right. For instance, if you look at other examples of countries that broke up, or empires that broke up, the Soviet Union, as long as there was a military political resolve to keep the Soviet Union together, it stayed together. Once that resolve evaporated, that empire broke up. If you take the more recent case of Iraq, as long as there was a dictator, Saddam Hussein, who was keeping the country together by force, it stayed together. But once Saddam Hussein was deposed, the country descended into civil war, which tells us that Iraqis never really thought of themselves as one people. It was force that was keeping them together. Now, what keeps India together? Is it force? I don't think so. I think the Indians are living together voluntarily as Indians, right? There is no force that is needed to keep a South Indian and a North Indian together. They're voluntarily coexisting in the same country. And to me, that is possibly the strongest argument that we are in fact one people. Yes, there are cultural differences, there are various differences, economic differences, but at the end of the day, there is no force needed to keep us together. We are living together voluntarily. And so I conclude that we are one people.
All right, that was a great summary. Thanks a lot, Venkatesh. And do you guys have any feedback on how to conduct this moving forward? Because it's the first time we're doing this, and we should look at how we're doing this. I would like to hear some feedback on the way it was conducted, or if you have any suggestions.
I think it was good. This is a good format.
Yeah, and previously we were talking about like having Google Docs and things like that, but I thought maybe using a platform like this was easier instead of maintaining Google Docs and stuff like that.
So this was my first session, so really enjoyed it. So next time I hope this actually is like a difference between North India and South India is very like a sentimental thing. We can hurt someone's sentiments, I feel. I think next time the topic should be something like should not hurt someone's sentiment.
Yeah, I know. I posted this in another group, and somebody was saying, why are you having topics like this? Because this is like people will start fighting with each other. But in a way, that is the whole point of the debate club, is that we have to take up controversial topics and then execute it in a civil manner so that everybody gets to share their points of view. Obviously, when there is a huge divisiveness, among the people about some certain topic, which you're calling it sentimental topic, right? That means a lot of people have like a lot of strong opinions about it. So that those things have to be spoken, right? That is the whole point of a debate.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
totally agree on it.
So the goal of this club is to facilitate like civil discourse on all these things. Where, like for example, if you cannot say these things on Reddit or like somewhere else because they'll come and attack you.
Yeah.
That is why we don't have sentimental topics over there. But here we should have the option to have that somewhere where we can have a more controlled environment and people can act in a more civilized manner.
I would like to thank my teammates Teja and Manikandan. They gave us strong arguments. Of course, the compounding the problem was the fact that we didn't believe it ourselves. But in spite of that, they gave us the three of us together came up with strong arguments, I think.
Yeah, I think that is also important. You know, sometimes you have to step into the shoes of the other side to see their perspective clearly. Because
Yeah,
obviously, like, people have certain rationales for why they believe certain things, right? So it's good to put yourself in other person's perspective and see what it is like from there.
Yeah.
Actually, at the last minute, Venkatesh joined this side of the team, and he did a very good favor for our team.
Yeah.
That I would say. And
I think we were a great team. Excellent points actually.
Yeah. And the overall goal is not for one side to win. The overall goal of these debates is to enrich the discussion so that all of us get more informed about all the things concerned with it.
Okay.
So maybe an hour ago, like when you guys joined, maybe you didn't have the full perspective of like the different sides of this whole argument. But now we're all walking away with the knowledge of like, okay, there is cultural difference, of course. What is the role of language in this difference? What are the political differences? Does any of these constitute a fundamental difference? All these questions have come up in our mind. Maybe we don't have clear answers, but we still thought about it. That is actually progress, right? So that is the goal of these debates, and I think we did have a really good first session. It would be great if you can bring in more people next time, and we can enrich the conversation. We'll also try to see like what we can do to improve this. One of the things that I would like to request you guys to do is like if you enjoyed this, please go and add a rating on meetup.com. So if you add a feedback with a 5-star rating or something like that, it will promote our club to other people, and more people will join, and we can have better conversations.
Sure, Rama, sure.
So,
just one suggestion.
go ahead.
Is it possible to have those points added up before the actual meetup time? Because
exactly, yeah, let's do that because like this is the first time we did this, right? So we didn't know like how we're going to use it. So we can actually publish that Kialo link as part of the meetup itself. So moving forward, this is what we'll have as a schedule. Okay, so we will finalize the topic of the debate Tuesday evening or something like that. So every Saturday we're having a debate. So Tuesday evening we will finalize the topic, and then like I will publish the link to the debate and also the form and everything ahead of time, so people can start populating those topics. And then when it's time on Saturday, we will pick sides and we will execute the debate kind of similar to what we did this time.
Fine, that would be better.
Yeah. Thanks everyone.
Yeah. Thanks everyone. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks
Just
everyone.
one question, like
Sure.
debate club, we have a separate group for debate club.
Yeah, we have a separate meetup group. Yes, I will share the link. I mean, I shared the link to the debateclub.info, right? You can go there and then join the meetup from there. We also have a WhatsApp group. All right, guys. Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.